What is up, beautiful people? Down with the Browns is back on this fine August 29th, 2022. How we feeling, boys?
KFC, I'm feeling alive. That finger looking good stuff is great out here. Mac,
yeah.
what's going on in Buffalo land? I get to graze some nice grass today.
I got outside a little bit. Super hot. It's always that stupid last wave of summer that's just killer. Now, granted, I dropped quite a penny on a good AC unit, so yeah, I was keeping cool all day. Way too hot. Way too hot.
But we're not here to care about your day, Mac. We're here to discuss the Browns. How do you feel about that?
The preseason game.
Like us not caring about your day.
Oh, I must be missing something. Honestly,
I was just being stupid. I said we don't care about your day because you're talking about it.
Oh yeah, nobody does. I just continue to talk anyway.
We can tell. Anyways, whoa. What's that in the background? It's rumbling. Oh, God. It's what the Buffalo heard.
So this is Mac with what the Buffalo heard. Browns lost their final preseason game on Saturday to the Bears 21-20. The Browns will now make their final roster cuts and await 13 days till the season opener in Carolina. This now gives Browns fans almost 2 weeks to yell at each other over Twitter for 3 games that didn't matter. In other news, a video emerged of Browns players eating sunflower seeds on the sidelines during Saturdays. Browns fans did what they do best and jumped to conclusions, stating that players were in control and were consuming an illegal drug. While this accusation is not plausible, it would explain why the first teamers got dog-walked by possibly the worst roster in the league. With 53-man roster being finalized on Tuesday, the team is awaiting GM Andrew Berry to make some more moves between now and 4 p.m. tomorrow. Some players on the team are surprisingly unaware of this situation. Wide receiver Anthony Schwartz was quoted saying, "Tomorrow's cutdown day? Wow, I didn't catch that." Lastly, Browns edge rusher Myles Garrett was ranked number 11 on NFL's top 100 players list, which was 5 spots higher than Steelers outside linebacker TJ Watt. Defensive coordinator advised Garrett, saying he should try going up against a backup right tackle twice a year to boost his sack numbers. This is Mac with what the Buffaloes heard.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby. That was good. Good. Hey, Mac, I don't know if you heard about this. My friend texted me. I guess the Dr. Fauci, the head of the U.S. Department of Health, brought in Anthony Schwartz to talk about how to prepare for the next pandemic because he can't catch anything. So I guess he could be out here really making us a better society. So I got to give, as much as I've been crapping on him, I got to give Schwartz some credit out here trying to make us a safer, more secure society.
Oh God.
Here's the thing. I got bodied and just dragged publicly on social media because I was truthful about Anthony Schwartz. I was worried about him. Everybody saying, you'll be fine, you're being negative. I mean, one person told me, I hope that you find happiness in your life. Now, while I haven't found that, Anthony Schwartz hasn't proved to be a viable wide receiver either.
Listen, just because I called you a Davy Downer, and listen, I was giving him.
My God, is that negative Nancy's music? Is that what I just heard?
I was giving him the benefit of the doubt, I just wanted because it looked like he's putting in the work in the off season, but apparently it didn't translate. But let's just get straight into the game recap.
Let's do it.
So we all watched the game. Matty G was actually at the game.
Yeah.
What are some takeaways?
Well, I will correct you and say I was at the game for the second quarter on because the people I went with were idiots and thought it was a good idea to leave for a game that started at 7:15. So we'll just stay at that. So I didn't get to see the first quarter. But from what I saw of the first teamers, I was horrified. That defense looked terrible. I mean, I was at the game last year where the same Browns starting defense held Justin Fields in at that time, I would say probably better Bears offense because they had Allen Robinson to 69 total yards. And I watched Justin Fields go up and down the field effortlessly. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I know it's just a preseason, but I'm starting to have legitimate concerns about coaching. I just don't know. I don't think we've seen them evolve the game plan from Kevin's entire year here. Like in 2-year period here. Like, have we seen the game plan truly change from game to game? I don't think you have.
Nope.
He runs the same game plan. I mean, it's as simple as that. It seems like same thing every week. The defense has not changed. They don't blitz.
But why would you?
I get it's the preseason, but at the same time, there's no creativity.
Yeah. Why would you be running your best offensive plays in the preseason to give a book on them?
But
this early.
See, it's not about that though. But what I'm trying to say is that it's even like the number of passes and runs they play, the number of situations. They don't switch it up at all. It's basically a given. Like, I can pretty much predict their plays. If it's 1st and 10, they're probably going to run. If it's 2nd and long, they'll pass. If it's 2nd and short, they'll run. And 3rd down, they'll pass no matter what. That basically has described the Browns' game plan on the offensive side of the football since Kevin Stefanski's taken over. And as just a podcaster up sitting in section 540 can figure that out. I'm sure an NFL defensive coordinator can figure that out.
I mean,
I don't think
you're not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong. Now, I will say this: this was an offense that didn't have Nick Chubb, didn't have Kareem Hunt, didn't have Amari Cooper. My problem is just like it was pulling teeth to just extend the drive. I mean, this offense didn't get a 1st down until the 3rd drive. And they had to go for it on 4th down to get it. And it's for me, it's not so much play calling because we know what we're going to get from Joe Woods' defense. It's all about keeping everything in front of you, bend, don't break. And there was a lot of times where you did see it break a little bit, but again, you're without your best pass rushers and 2 best corners. So you're not going to get that exactly tight coverage, and there's nothing against, MJ Emerson, Greedy or any of those other guys. But, it's just, especially when they keep being thrown out there, like it's, for me, the bigger concern is definitely offense, but not really the play calling, more or less just staying on schedule. Like you're giving – And I know that we've touched a lot on Anthony Schwartz, and I'm not trying to jump all over him and dogpile him because looking at him right now, it's just an absolute car wreck. It's to the point to where you're looking at it. He's had a total of 12 targets this preseason
and 3 catches.
3 catches for 28 yards. He's less than 10 yards a catch, so he's not a deep threat.
Let's be real.
He does catch the ball.
He's had more drops than catches.
Yeah.
Hear
me out, guys. Hear me out. For the Fire Stefanski fan base led by Matty G, let's just calm that down. It's preseason. Like Max said earlier, it's just preseason. He's took our team to the playoffs. First year in his offense. We almost made the playoffs with this offense last year with a hurt quarterback. And
it's just going to be really ugly. That's the thing. It's going to be very, very ugly.
Do you want my crazy prediction that I've given before? And that's
all right, let's hear it.
I know KFC knows this, and a couple people have said it. If I had to guess right now, if a gun to my head, who's going to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns in 2023, that would be Dabu Sweeney. I'll tell you why right now. Hold before the band Matty G continues, because I know I've become the villain of Network 216, which is a role I've embraced. I would like to consider myself pretty damn good at it. Let's go through here. Let's think about it this way. Jimmy Haslam has never been one to be patient. Jimmy Haslam has always gone for the big game. Jimmy Haslam has always wanted a franchise quarterback. He has one now in Deshaun Watson. Who does Deshaun Watson literally think is God? That's Dabu Sweeney. Dabu Sweeney compared to Deshaun Watson to Michael Jordan back in 2017. I don't know why he would do that, comparing him to the second greatest basketball player of all time. That doesn't make any sense to me. But like, let's be real here, though. Like, it might sound crazy, but is it really? We always have heard there's always been traction about a major coach following their quarterback. And that's the thing is that Jimmy is willing to write that check. If/when Stefanski's fired, it's going to be a Dabu Swinney, a Sean Payton, a Ryan Day. It's going to be a big-name coach.
Stefanski's not getting fired this year. I'm telling you. The only way I'm on the board with firing Stefanski.
It's going to be in a Colossus meltdown for that to happen. Now, you do make a lot of good points, and I am very concerned that if this Brissett-led offense is just absolutely off, because here's the thing, as good as this defense is and as elite it is at full strength, to the point to where Joe Woods can still what I would argue kind of a terribly called game, and they can still get away with it on defense. Like, that's how talented this offense or this defense is. Now, if it just gets to a point to where it looks like, now again, good amount of players missing on offense, but if that offense looks how it does on Saturday, week 1, week 2, 3, 4, 5, like it's gonna fall apart. And
it's not.
And Jimmy Haslam is like
he is impatient. But listen, when you don't have your number one receiver out there, this guy's going to open up the field a lot. Like Amari Cooper, if he stays healthy, he's going to open the field up drastically. We've got a guy that is one of the most underrated running backs probably in the last 20 years, because Nick Chubb is – I don't know how he's not in the top 20. I'm sorry to the NFL. But Nick Chubb, one of the best pure runners in the league.
He gets a lot of hate for a guy who averages 5 yards a carry every year.
It's because of fantasy.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's because of fantasy football.
I don't get that.
He ran out of bounds at the 1 yard line. I hate him.
Hey, I will say, not to complain about that, he did cost me my fantasy game that week, actually. That would have been 9 points on the board if he wouldn't have done that, and I lost by 6. So,
but we got Nick Chubb, we've got Kareem Hunt, we've got talent on this offense, but it wasn't out on the field. When you've got your fourth string running back out there running around and your fifth string most of the game, and you got
Anthony
Anthony
Schwartz. They didn't do that bad of a job running
exactly,
the ball.
Exactly. And then you've got Anthony Schwartz out there running number one receiver routes.
Yeah,
he's not gonna. I hate to say this, but he's not gonna be on the team. He's not gonna be on the team. Like, that's my surprise cut.
It's just
I'd be shocked.
I don't think it's really that surprising, because what can you trust him with? He proved to you last year that he's not a very good special teamer. I don't know how you're the fastest guy on the field, but average less than a touchback on kickoff returns. That makes zero sense. Sorry. And then now he's failing at a wide receiver. And it's not about memorizing the plays. It's not about running the route.
Yeah.
It's about catching the football. And it's just like, and I don't know whether it's just like he just doesn't have the hand-eye coordination, or he's just completely broken and his confidence is gone out the window. It's really hard to see a guy that gets so many opportunities, whether it's in practice, whether they're building special plays for him, whether they're just simply just giving him a giant target share in a game against can you tell me one person in the Bears secondary right now? Tell me.
Prince Ukamara.
Oh, got you.
Eddie Jackson.
Two.
Is he still there?
Yeah. Eddie Jackson?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know Eddie Jackson is still there. But, my point is, he should at least – the very first play,
okay, Mac, I'll give you that one. Prince Ukamara is not still there. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. I still gave you Eddie Jackson though. He's an all-pro.
But
so
let's be
first
real.
Play of the game, he dropped a 3-yard banana route right in his hands. Third play, second drive, he's wide open by at least a stride and a half on 2 defenders. And instead of going up and extending his body, he alligator arms it, one-handed, drops it. So there's a punt right there. He has an 8-yard completion, nice, but then he follows it up with getting shoulder checked by a linebacker, and then it ends up being an interception. It's really hard to look at his tape and support this guy and say to ourselves, okay, we're going to keep trying and develop this player instead of looking what else that we have on offense. Like it's just
so
it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is. But one thing that has been brought up since we all have recently found out that Anthony Schwartz will not be a reliable target is trade and free agent targets in the wide receiver room. And I have been a big advocate for 2 or 3 receivers. But there's one newly added receiver to the target list for me, for the Browns.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 5 receivers I would like to see the Browns trade for within the next week and a half. You ready for this?
All right.
I'm going to go from the bottom of my list.
Number 5.
So you're number 5 to your number 1,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So number 5,
That's wrong.
I'm going to go with Darius Slayton.
He's your number 5?
Yeah.
He has 2 700-yard receiving.
I know, man, but I think that we'd have to give up quite a bit for him. More than what we would have to for the rest of them.
And plus, he is a possession guy. He's not a speedster.
Yeah.
And that's what this offense needs. The offense needs a speedster.
Number 4 would be Denzel Mims, which is, I think, is the most likely to happen.
Yeah. Denzel Mims for conditional 6th or conditional 7th seems
pretty ideal. Number 3, Scotty Miller.
Scotty Doug.
Because I think he could fit that slot position pretty well.
Oh, absolutely.
Number 2, Kendrick Bourne.
Okay.
And then number 1 is the most recently added to the target list in Terrence Marshall. Been very high on this guy since LSU.
I do like Terrence Marshall. He can fly.
If you can get Terrence Marshall, because they just got that one guy. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name.
Laviska Shenault.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but here's my thing. If he was that good, why would they take Laviska Shenault over him? Because they're practically the same guy. They're speedster kind of guy.
Listen. So, Matt Rule is running the team. Whoever is running the Panthers also traded a 2nd-round pick and a 3rd-round pick for Sam Darnold. And then gave him a 5th-year option. So that is the franchise that is being ran in Carolina right now. So I wouldn't put anything past them.
I think first off, are we sure Terrence Marshall's available? Are we sure that's not just media speculation?
I mean, he'd be the odd man out.
I mean, you do got to think DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Rashard Higgins, and then now Shenault. So he's either the 4th or the 5th.
5. Maybe they don't like Higgins, but then again, because they got Mayfield there. I mean, I think it's worth it. It's worth an
carpet walk bullshit.
I was thinking about this going into next offseason. I know that this is kind of taking your thing with it, Christian, and running with it. What do you think the availability of DeAndre Hopkins is next offseason? Hold on. Obviously, let's go through and look at kind of who Arizona has. They have their 2 young guys of the future. They have Hollywood Brown, and then they have Rondale Moore, who I like a lot. I like Rondale Moore a lot. Do you think that potentially in the offseason, AB could pick up the phone and offer maybe a 2 and a 3, 2 and a 4 for DeAndre Hopkins? They might not want to pay him. That reunites Deshaun with his favorite target from back in the Houston days.
I don't think it would take that much because if he hasn't, he's not playing till week 6. If he doesn't have that great of a season, because there are so many targets now, they might run the ball a little more. You don't know how Kyler's going to play now since he got the bag,
right?
He might drop off a little bit because what's he got to play for now? He's already paid. So, you might be able to get him for a little bit less because you've seen weirder trades because they might think Marquise Brown's the number 1, bump up everybody and trade him because how old is D-Hop now? 30, 31? He'll be 32 probably. I may be wrong totally right there. I'm gonna look that up. But go ahead, Mac.
So I just don't think they'll be able to afford him. And granted, I'm not going out and saying that like once he gets off his suspension, he's gonna warrant the money that he's gonna be paid. Because I mean, you guys listed off a lot of good reasons on why his production would dip, but the value of wide receivers nowadays in the NFL is just absolutely through the roof. I mean, think about what the Jags had to pay for Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Well,
Amari Cooper
you know,
is what
you could get him to
11th,
restructure, though.
12th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, and like there's 9 guys above him that absolutely don't deserve that kind of tag. And then you have, Marquise Brown going for a first rounder. I'm sorry, but he's not worth a first round pick. I mean,
You went with
he
a
dropped
third.
4
Max,
touchdown passes last year, and you're
D
gonna
Hop.
He went with the third too.
So D Hop.
yeah.
So D Hop just turned 30 2 months ago. So if we traded for him next year, early in the offseason, he would still be 30. So he'd be 31 going into next year.
And
so
can
I mean,
they afford his contract?
But the thing is, you got to think. Look at what AB's been able to do with restructuring contracts.
So they're negative 32 in the hole right now, plus 46. So they're going to have about 14 left over. Now you give probably about plus or minus 5, in terms of restructuring.
You're going to need about
they still got to.
Too.
Yeah.
Which,
you're going to need $2 million to sign your draft picks. I mean, because here's the other thing.
But you could also offer like a deal where they eat some of the money in the trade.
They're not going to eat.
Come on. Yeah. No.
They might eat a little bit.
Because I'm operating under the assumption that Amari Cooper is not going to be here next year.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. In that kind of scenario, yes, I can see that.
Because I don't think, with how they restructured his contract, I don't think Amari's coming back. Do you? I'd be surprised.
Depends if Watson likes him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you get into.
He's got, and I honestly, I do think, like, looking at, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but the only kind of like thing that I can look at that's been put on tape here, like to kind of picture what it's going to be like when Watson comes back, is looking at some of Dobbs's play. Running the read option, scrambling, extending the play, finding the open man. And I think the kind of wide receivers, and I've said this before, but I think the wide receivers that are going to benefit are going to be Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and David Bell, because they're the kind of, now granted, of course, we still need that deep threat, but a lot of these routes are going to be kind of makeshift. It's just more or less finding the open hole in the zone, making yourself open and catching the football. So, I think that especially when Deshaun, I think Amari Cooper is still going to have a pretty damn good season, even with Brissett, which, I mean, we'll talk about him in a second. But, when Deshaun Watson comes back, I think every single wide receiver is going to benefit from it. I don't see any, like, bad, unless you're like Anthony Schwartz, you can't catch the ball. I think all wide receivers would benefit from Deshaun Watson. So, and especially with Amari Cooper, who can, beat one-on-one coverage almost 100% of the time. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I do think that Amari Cooper is really going to work out here, and I do think that he's going to be at least here for 2 years. Now 3, I don't know, considering his age and everything, but I think he'll at least be in here for 2 seasons, because you're going to see what he provides to an offense being out on the field.
Yeah, and getting DeAndre Hopkins kind of sounds like a fantasy football move. And Network 216 is sponsored by a fantasy football, or just fantasy sports. And that's Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest place for fantasy sports. For season-long drafts only, no waivers, trades, or lineup setting. Stressing is, I just botched that bad. But I started reading quotes. But back to what we were talking about. There's no waivers, trades, or lineup settings. Stressing, there is no league management aspect after your draft is key. Underdog Fantasy lets you draft your fantasy dream team in minutes. And if you sign up now with code 216, they'll double your money on your first deposit up to $100 in bonus cash. $100 for free. What's that sound like, Mac? Free?
FREE. That spells free. Free money. Why would you turn down free money?
Exactly.
It's 216.
You're not allowed to say crap to me anymore, Mac. You went 2.
All right.
So you're saying free money, though?
Free money. I don't know how you turn down free money.
Exactly.
It's 3 numbers in the code when you sign up.
It's elite.
Double your deposit up to $100. It's that simple.
But,
I did it. I used the code. Free money.
I did too.
I'm not going to turn it down.
And,
Lord knows Mac needs that free money.
Yeah, I do. I do, man.
Oh, man. But,
Absolutely.
with Underdog Fantasy, you'll be able to draft any player, even any Browns player you want. And now we're going to talk about the team's MVPs, both offensive and defensive. So we're going to predict who we think will be the best on both sides of the ball this year. So we'll let Matty G take this one away. So who do you think your MVP will be on the offensive side of the ball this
I
year?
don't know how you can't say Nick Chubb. I just don't know. I don't know how you can't say Nick Chubb. We've already been over. He's one of Matt. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's one of 7 running backs in NFL history to average 5 yards per carry over his career. Those are Hall of Fame numbers. There's a reason I just bought a signed Nick Chubb jersey to hang up behind me. And if you look at this offense, it's designed I don't want to give too much credit, but on a local radio station around here, Anthony Lima today was talking about they need to feed him this year. He needs to get those 25, 30 carries a game because look at it. The Titans did that to Derrick Henry and they made the playoffs in 2019 and 2020. You need to see that with Nick Chubb.
Yeah. So who do you think?
Agree.
Is that your MVP?
So I just for segment's sake, I'll pick another player here. I really do think that David Njoku, and everybody forgets about him. Everybody forgets about him.
Whoa!
I don't like you anymore.
I like him because he's just an all-around great tight end. And here's the thing, Nick Chubb's great. He's still got to have some blocking in front of him. And he's developed into one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL.
No, it's a fact.
The third drive, you can see it. He started on the left side as a tight end wing, pulled to the other side of the formation and was a lead blocker for Dearness Johnson. With the fact that he's 6'5", 250 and can run like a deer, he's got it all together. And it's crazy because the guy's only 25 and he's in his 5th year in the league. Yeah. So he's finally hitting, his career in stride. And the great thing that I saw too is his hands. Now, granted, he's made a lot of great touchdown catches and everything, but there was a couple footballs that were kind of almost buried into the dirt by Jacoby Brissett. His first catch, it was practically at his knees. And then, he came back to catch that curl. I believe it was the 3rd drive. So he's going to be needed a lot, especially with a quarterback that's playing 11 weeks that likes to target the running backs and tight ends. So he's going to be counted on a lot, and it proves by his extension.
I definitely agree with you on that pick. That is actually who I was going to pick. Due to Brissett and Watson. They both really like their tight ends.
They do.
So I wouldn't be shocked if Njoku had more than 8 touchdowns this year. I said it.
I like it.
But for segment's sake, like Max said, I'm going to go different from both of you guys.
Okay.
I'm going to go Amari Cooper.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think he's going to have that season kind of like Josh Gordon did a couple years ago.
I can see that.
Where he's just kind of like the standalone receiver.
Yeah.
He's going to be the purest route runner wide receiver we've had in years. And it's just going to show.
It's just technician.
He's just going to be wide open. Like it's gonna, and then teams are gonna double team him, and they won't be able to stop him still.
I told Jeff off air, super 216 fan Jeff off air, that I thought I was only half joking when I said this. You could see Amari get 250 targets this year. Like, he is legitimately the standalone receiver. It won't be quite that many, but it's gonna feel like it. He's gonna get 15 targets a game, I'm going to assume, easily.
Yeah, I think he's gonna easily be 1,000-yard receiver.
Oh, easy. Yeah. I can see him setting a career high in catches.
I hope you're out there. And on the other side of the ball, we've got one of the best defenses in the league. So, Maddie G, who do you think your Browns defensive MVP will be this year?
So, obviously, I'm just kidding, not Miles. This is actually, I'm going to surprise some people with this pick. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I think he is going to be the key of this defense. He's going to be this first line of defense once that interior defensive line inevitably collapses. He's going to have to meet the runner. He's going to have to limit that gain to 2 or 3 yards. Can't allow any yards after contact. He's going to be one of the main guys out in space covering tight ends, kind of trying to keep that middle, guard that middle. And I think, he's your anti-Lamar Jackson weapon. I don't think it's any mistake that Lamar Jackson has played horrible in games that Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah has played in, because Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah matches Lamar's athletic ability and turns him into what he is, a top 50 quarterback in the NFL. That's what Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah allows you to do to Lamar Jackson. So that is why he is my defensive MVP, and why I am predicting not only a Pro Bowl, but an all-pro season for JOK.
Ooh, I
like
that. I like that a whole lot, considering the fact that his rookie year, he's like crossed the stat board with so many tackles for loss, sacks, passes deflected. Yeah,
my bad. Zach said JOK was drafted to stop Lamar and TBH, and that is a fact. But go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no worries. And I mean, he didn't even give up a touchdown last year in pass coverage, which is extremely rare as a linebacker. I mean, think about he's constantly covering tight ends that are supposed to be mismatches, especially in the division with Mark Andrews. So, but in terms of who my MVP is, definitely gonna have to go with Myles Garrett. He's gonna hit the sack record this year for the franchise. It's gonna be easy. I think he'll get it. I think he'll get it, if not by the first game, second or first quarter of the second game there. And what he does for this defense is that he allows Joe Woods to play the most conservative coverages that this world has ever seen. Now, granted, I don't agree with the bend, don't break defense, but it does work when you have that kind of pass rushers up front. And I think that he's going to be an MVP not only because of stats, but I also do think that he's going to be MVP for what he does for everyone else around you. Now, having Myles, it's going to make everybody's jobs easier, including Clowney's, who's also an elite pass rusher.
Yep.
He's going to make the job easier on these defensive tackles, and he's definitely going to make the job easier for when the rotation comes in. I mean, I was looking at Alex Wright in the preseason, and he absolutely impressed me from just a physical standpoint, not even from technique, but the way how he's able to beat guys inside. So, Myles forces everybody on that offense to you can't double anybody. You have to double him. You have to double him. Ravens tried triple teaming him, and he still ended up with a sack. So that puts everybody else across the board on a one-on-one matchup. And it's a lot easier to win a one-on-one matchup, obviously.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. But, there's one guy I think –
KFC, I hate to cut you off here, but this is something I saw in the comments. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but I just kind of happened to glance down. I don't know how this isn't a bigger story. So according to ATB 7109, Lamar liked a picture of him photoshopped in a
that's
at this point, guys. Is this the end of Lamar Jackson in Baltimore? I don't think you can.
I've been calling it for a while, man. He is a Miami Dolphin.
I've been saying him to the Dolphins. He's from Miami. Stephen Ross has already shown what he's willing to do to go get a franchise quarterback. I mean, mean, that's interesting. And I mean, it's kind of scary to say Lamar leaving. You could argue that the Ravens get better at quarterback. Seriously. Like from a passing standpoint, Tyler Huntley is better than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but Lamar brings that. I don't know. He
doesn't bring it in the playoffs. Doesn't bring it in the playoffs, and that's what matters. And that's why he hasn't gotten paid. That's why he hasn't gotten paid. Everybody's looking at it and being like, "Oh, Lamar Jackson, top 10 in the NFL, top 10 runner in the NFL." So
he's the most athletic quarterback I think I've ever saw. Let's be real.
Because we weren't alive for Michael Vick, that's why. Or we were like prime Michael Vick was around.
Post Atlanta Falcons, Michael Vick, he became more of a pocket passer. He could still run, but he was more of a pocket passer after that. But
but nobody ran the read option offense.
I mean, I'm not taking up for Lamar. I'm just saying we've not really. I mean, they've been in playoffs a couple times with him. So
and they haven't done anything. He got one playoff win in which he scored 6 points.
I'm just saying
that means 2 field goals that
guess
he didn't
what?
Score.
You tell a Browns fan that 5 years ago, we'd be like going crazy if we even got to the playoffs 2 years. Okay, let's be real.
Yeah, but also to correct your take too, prime Cam Newton was more athletic than Lamar Jackson.
I don't know about athletic. I think he was better. He was smart. I think he was better overall. I'm not saying.
I mean, he didn't turn the ball over in the red zone. He didn't have as many fumbles, but
I'm just saying, like,
he'd also throw the ball out too. That's
I mean, obviously he's a better quarterback.
Yeah.
But anyways, going back to defensive MVP, the guy I think that will be the Browns' defensive MVP this year is in the secondary.
Okay.
And it's not who you think. It's JJ3, John Johnson III.
I can see that a lot.
I think that this guy, he's going to be what we brought him in to be last year. If you've watched any of the Building the Browns, this dude is a true leader. And even going back to when he was with the Rams, they loved him there. He was truly, you had Aaron Donald up front.
Mm-hmm.
But that was John Johnson's defense. He was helping call out the plays. He would look at Jalen Ramsey. He'd call him out on stuff. That was John Johnson's defense. I think he's gonna have more picks this year than he did last year. And as you saw, his progression throughout the year, he got more comfortable in Joe Woods' defense, became better, started locking down. So I think he's gonna be more vocal this year. I think he said numerous times that the locker room feels better this year than it did last year. So I think they're all starting to gel. And he's going to be the leader of that secondary and middle of the field. So, yeah.
I mean, he's their best coverage safety. So, yeah, I can totally see it. A lot of people, for some reason, want to call him a box safety. He missed probably about 17% of his tackles and, isn't the best kind of enforcer. I'd say Ronnie Harrison and Grant Delpit both play better in the box. But in terms of coverage, the center fielder of your defense, that's 100% John Johnson. Go dig into the advanced stats and what his completion percentage is when targeted. What's his passer rating? And it's pretty good. And they faced some pretty good passing offenses last year. So yeah, I completely agree with you in terms of JJ3 being the my thing with him is that I just don't want Joe Woods having him call the defense like he was last year. Just simply because of how complex their coverages are on the backside. He's got a big enough job as it is getting the complete secondary in order and calling the coverage. But to have him call the play too, as well as the front, that's a lot to put on the plate of one player, especially when you have, JOK. Even Jacob Phillips played pretty well with the green dot. So,
and Anthony Walker.
Anthony Walker.
Bro, let's be real. This defense is so just stout. Like on each level, you've got guys like Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney on the front. Then you just go to the linebacking core, and you've got one of the most intelligent linebackers in the NFL, Anthony Walker, and the next coming of Bobby Wagner and JOK. Impact-wise. And then you've got Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Then behind them, Grant Delpit, John Johnson III. Dude, I'm sorry, man. The defense just
They're deep.
I'm so hyped.
we're
Like
talking about
everybody talks about the offense, but I think this defense will be one of the best defenses in Browns history.
I can see that. As we're talking about defense, am I crazy for saying I'd rather have Chase Winovich on this team than Sione Takitaki?
No, you're not.
I think Winovich does more for you than Winovich can. I'm sorry. Winovich does more for you than Takitaki can. Because keep in mind, when Winovich was at when Winovich was at University of Michigan under Jim Harbaugh, he wasn't a pass rusher. He was an outside linebacker. He dropped into coverage. He rushed the passer. He backed up the line. He did a little bit of everything. Sione Takitaki is really just he's a solid coverage guy. He'll lay a couple big hits there, where Winovich is kind of like a Swiss Army knife type of deal.
Agreed.
I don't know. Looking at Winovich's, in pass coverage the past 2 years with the Pats, I kind of disagree with you. Now, not saying that Takitaki is great in pass coverage here, but I think what they really need him in run support, especially out on the edge. It's now, granted, not saying that Chase Winovich can't do that, but there's been some times where Takitaki plays very well on that edge and in terms of run support. And he had a now granted it was kind of spotty here and there, but I thought he had a pretty solid 2020 season. And for the role that they have of Sam linebacker, to where he's not out there on third down. There are in some instances where he is, but he's mainly a strong side defender. So he's mainly run support. Now Chase Winovich, I look at him as purely a pass rusher. Now, granted, he has been injured. And it's tough. Injuries suck. But it's just, as we're looking at this preseason here, I don't know. Alex Wright kind of played a lot better. If it wasn't for a shaky game by Isaiah Rochelle,
he's making the roster.
Yeah. I
Bro, honestly,
yeah.
I think you could see some. I know he's more of an edge, but I could see them trying to play him inside a little bit. Just
who? Alex Wright?
No, Isaac Rochelle. I could see that.
Yeah. The only thing is,
like on pass rush.
I was watching a lot of. Because I replayed that whole Bears game. There's a lot of times where he kind of got bullied off the line of scrimmage, and I wouldn't stick that guy inside. Now, if you said Alex Wright, a guy who did that in college and was able to get away with it somehow, especially at his frame being below 300. Because here's the thing, you still need some base to you. You need some weight, and it was really surprising to even see him play against Georgia and not get completely bullied off the ball. So if you want to talk about a guy moving inside, I would say Alex Wright. Now, I probably wouldn't do it till third down, but in terms of I loved in the first 2 games. I did, but he really struggled in run defense. And especially with what the state of the defensive tackle room is, I think they're going to prioritize, being able to stop the run at end, just to kind of not overcompensate, but compensate for the status of the run D right now. Because there were some times. Now, granted, you don't have your starting two edge rushers, but there were times that you saw in this base defense that they're giving up, a couple yards of carry.
Yeah. And as you're speaking of Alex Wright, he's one of our rookies. And so who do you guys think will be the team, like, offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year on the Browns? So we'll start with you, Matty G.
Offensive, I'm going to go with my guy, David Bell.
Okay.
I think he's going to be a great player. He reminds me a lot of can't guard Michael Thomas. Then defensively, this is a little bit of a hot take. I really, really, really like Isaiah Thomas. I know that's an unpopular take. I honestly am higher on Isaiah Thomas than I am Alex Wright. I think that Alex Wright, think because of his size, he gets a little bit of a pass. Where I think Isaiah Thomas has that football instinct. He has a high motor. He just gets things done. Yeah. I really like Isaiah Thomas.
I mean, he gets after the quarterback, and you can never have enough pass rushers. So
exactly.
I definitely agree there.
So I think we can all agree on the offensive rookie of the year. being David Bell. Is that an easy assumption?
I mean, can you technically count Cade York as offensive considering he's scoring you points?
That'd be more special teams.
Yeah, if you're technically counting it as special teams, then
honestly, he'll have the most impact on the team rookie-wise than anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I can't believe he almost made that 50-yard field goal. And it was, I don't know if you guys, Maddie, I know that you're a fellow Clevelander here. How windy was it on Saturday? We just had a storm this past weekend. So, he's kind of kicking a little bit in the elements here, and he nailed a 57, missed a 58. And then what was the other one that he made? I believe he made 3.
57.
Didn't he?
There was one
from 50.
I mean, he made that 70-yarder in warm-ups into the dog pound.
Yeah, which was nuts.
Yeah, for real.
I couldn't believe that's an actual real video.
Yeah, but aside from Cade York, we can agree David Bell's okay. So defensive, I'm gonna go with Martin Emerson. I mean, I know how Mac felt when we originally picked him, but I got him kind of confused with somebody else. But then I started seeing the film, and then I remembered exactly who he was, because this dude bullied my Kentucky Wildcats. Shut down Wandale Robinson. I was heated. I hated Martin Emerson that game. I didn't know who he was. I just remembered him. But MJ is going to be a tank this year. He proved it in the preseason games.
He is a dog.
He is a dog. Honestly, I think he's like the defensive George Pickens without the attitude, which he's got attitude, but it's not as public,
Oh, yeah. I mean, he keeps everything between the whistle, which is super nice out of really any player. You hate to see those stupid flags for stupid things, and that's just the reality of the NFL. But anyway, I'd say Martin Emerson, just simply because they're going to ask quite a bit of this young man this season. They're going to ask him to play a little bit more inside. I know eventually he's going to kind of slide into that MJ Stewart role, to where he plays kind of a little bit of box safety. Because, I mean, he can tackle very well. He's very physical, and he's long. He's long. He can get your hands on you. He's big on pass deflections. Yep. I mean, he led the SEC in pass deflections in 2020. And, that's the SEC. He's playing the Alabama, the Georgia, the, LSU.
I don't think they played Bama last year. I don't know if they played them.
No, they definitely played Bama, if not in 2021, 2020, because there was video.
He for sure played Bama. I just don't know about last year. Oh, did he play against Jameson Williams? Okay, yeah.
Then he definitely played against Jameson Williams. And it's just crazy because even though he's not the fastest defensive back, his length and his hips keep him in line with the wide receiver, and he's able to always – if not make a play, be right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I 100% agree, Martin Emerson.
Yeah. And to move on to our next segment, and probably our last segment, is most improved. But before we get into that segment, let's bring in a very big sponsor. Mac, do you mind showing off that lovely shirt you got on there?
So this is a vintage Cleveland Browns t-shirt, presented by Homage.
Homage.
They were. Yeah, they have vintage NFL stuff. A brilliant Browns collection,
bro,
and it's awesome.
It's amazing. Homage, bro. Like I said last episode, you can keep that stuff on at all times. Homage is the best clothing. I'm still waiting on mine in the mail. I thought it was gonna be here today because I ordered some extra.
Which one did you get?
Huh? I got the MWO shirt. I got the Joe Thomas shirt.
Oh, good.
And then I got the one with the schedule on the back of it because I thought it looked cool. So, and I'm probably gonna order some more because it's that fire.
Yeah, Homage is a great brand, guys. I just got I got a Cavs shirt today. It's pretty sweet. It's so soft, very, very comfortable. They're unisex, so like Mac, if your girlfriend wants to steal your clothes, it'll fit her too. Like,
Don't say that. Don't say that. She already does.
Hey,
So it's bad. It's bad.
You
I had
can
to have a
steal
conversation
it.
with her. I had a conversation with her. I was like, hey, like, this is what's going on. I'm gonna get some homage gear. Like, please do not steal it, or at least like don't wear it, because I gotta wear it on the podcast.
Right.
But I already know, because I have a couple hoodies in mind. I know that she's probably gonna snatch one of them. But it's just, I love their Browns collection. Their Indians collection is pretty cool as well. So, guys,
excuse me,
check it out.
What are the Indians? What are the Indians? I've never heard of this.
The Cleveland Guardians. I apologize. Even though it's Jacobs Field still, it's so progressive, but it is what it is. It's gonna get banned.
In his own, Jeff says Mac is getting banned in his own house.
Joke's on you, Jeff. It's an apartment.
Take a leave. Anyways, but yeah, go check out Homage. We got some links pretty much on all of Network 216 podcast and whatever
I
else
believe
is on
Zach
here.
dropped a link below.
Yeah, he did.
So
it's actually in the comments
section. Yeah, it's in the comment section. Click that link, and they always have a sale going on too.
Oh, dude, it's fire. They had the other day when I was looking. It was like 3 for and if you buy 3, you get 20% off. So it's like hitting. Not gonna lie, it's like cheaper to get 3 than it was 2. It's crazy. Yeah, it's that deal hit. But going back to our most improved on both sides of the ball, I'm gonna start this one out because this one is near and dear to my heart, and I have been pounding on the table for this guy to improve, and I think he will. I think this is his year. Jedrick Wills. I think we've saw improvement from him in the preseason. I mean, it's on tape. Like, go watch the preseason. He looks like he's doing better with his feet, with his block. I mean, his chops. He just looks like he's a better left tackle already. And hopefully he continues to progress because he's just 23, 24 years old. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we can keep this guy long term. So, that's my offensive.
That's your offensive.
Yeah.
Most improved, I definitely want to say Njoku, but he's already kind of proved himself to me, efficiency wise. He just hasn't really had the numbers.
He could take it to that next step. I mean, he did good, but in Madden terms, I guess he would go from that the normal
to the superstar development
to the superstar, like that.
I mean, he's the mismatch waiting to happen because he's too big for corners and he's too fast for linebackers. It still blows my mind and just absolutely frustrated me to watch Austin Hooper get all of his targets last season. It was so bad. I just didn't you would have Austin Hooper just whiff and then fall down on a flat route. And then he goes, Cleveland gave me all that money. I don't know why they didn't throw me the ball. You were 3rd in targets. You just stunk.
He couldn't catch, man.
He couldn't.
He'd just fall if he did. All stone hands.
So, yeah, I definitely say David Njoku. And, like I said before, the offense is going to be counting on this guy.
Yeah.
He's got to develop that rapport with Jacoby Brissett.
Justin Brissett.
Because Brissett really just loves his tight ends and his running back. So he's gonna look to him more, and he did this preseason. You can see that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to just see the Chief.
Yeah.
And I'm begging. We've seen this a few times since he's been in Cleveland. But where are the goal line jump balls? Come on. The guy is a champion in a high jump.
Yeah.
Just throw him the ball. Tell him to go get it.
I think that's where Brissett and Watson are gonna thrive with Njoku. Is in the red zone. But Matty G, who is your offensive? Who you think is going to be the most improved player this year?
Okay, trust me on this one.
Oh God.
Okay.
Anthony Schwartz. Hold on.
Oh my God.
I think it's
you better make this quick.
I think it's a mental block. I think that he's shown what he can do. Remember, Jamar Chase last preseason couldn't catch the football. You're not saying the two are correlated. Just hold on. I think if you give him a chance, see what he can do with Watson.
But Jamar Chase was doing it in college, though.
Hold on. He's an Olympic class sprinter. You can't teach that type of speed. I think give him a couple weeks off. He's got 13 days to get ready for the regular season. I think that we could really see a fun season from Schwartz.
I hope we do, man. Like, I mean, you can go back on this podcast. Like, I was hyping up Schwartz, man. Like, I want him to thrive. Like, I don't actively root for players to do bad. Like, if you do that, you're weird. Like, honestly, you might need to get help if you actively root for players on your favorite team to do bad. Anyways, but yeah, I hope Schwartz does do good. But we've got like 2 minutes, so I'm gonna make the defensive one real quick.
Well, I was just gonna comment on the Schwartz thing. The reason why I was doing that whole bit is I was checking my glasses to make sure that I was like seeing what I was hearing. But sorry, but
I ride with 10. I ride with Flash.
It's really hard, man. It's so just like for me, I just don't see any redeeming parts, and like to not have the urgency this time of year, because you know for a fact you cannot. There is no room for errors through these 11 weeks. There's not like the drop off with this quarterback between Brissett and Deshaun Watson. You need everybody else to kind of help pick up the slack. You need a more team game. And I don't think that Schwartz can be depended on. I really can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to just see him, and it's not some of these crazy catches. He's not catching the ball and then getting blasted and the ball's falling out of his hands.
He's just not catching it.
He's not catching it. And I don't know what it is, but somebody's got to figure it out. And if he can't figure it out, I'm sorry, there's no room on this team for him, because they can't afford to just keep trying to, try to start this car that won't turn over when there's a bunch of different ones on the lot. Because like you said, like you named, there's a lot of good wide receivers and free agents that are available right now, and the Browns could kick the tires on to fill that role. And there's also a couple different guys, towards the bottom of this roster. Mike Harley Jr. Why don't you knock on his door, see what he can do? Like
I was kind of shocked to be let Javon Mims go.
Yeah, seriously. And also with DeMarcus Bradley too, because he's been.
I saw that one, but
DeMarcus Bradley's he's gonna end up back on the practice squad like he has the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But absolutely. Real quick, guys, because we got another podcast coming on after us. It's around the corner.
At the corner. It's
at the corner.
It's at the corner.
Oh my gosh!
Wow!
Wow! Shut up! I botched that. I can't read. But real quick, we're just gonna say the name we think on the defensive side of the ball. So mine is JOK. I think he's just gonna take that jump from great young rookie to elite linebacker that's gonna wreck the league. All right, and one of you guys go.
I'm gonna go AJ Green. I think he becomes a lockdown corner this year. I like AJ Green a lot.
Okay.
That's solid. I definitely go Grant Delpit. Last year he never allowed more than 46 yards in coverage, and that was pretty much his rookie year, considering the fact that he tore his Achilles, in August, his rookie year. So, I really do think that he's going to make the next jump.
Heck yeah. And, go Browns.
Go Browns, baby.
Go Browns.